Another issue that I feel people get caught up on is forgiveness. I think it can be really difficult for some people. And how do you forgive somebody for something that happened to you that really should never have happened? Something really serious. And I was talking to someone some years ago about that, and I said, well, maybe forgiveness mightn't be all it's cracked up to be. Maybe it's, quite nice if we can manage it, but maybe it doesn't have to really control us for the rest of our lives. And so I worked a lot with the two sides of the conflict in Northern Ireland, in both the Republicans and the IRA and the Loyalists and the UVF and the British Army and the RUC and all of that. And ultimately we had to bring all the sides together in various different ways. And we worked on a forgiveness project. And the one thing I think I learned from that was that acceptance was probably a better project to have done. And so that if we can accept what has happened to us, rather than be focused on the forgiveness, because I'm not sure if it's possible for a child to forgive somebody for sexually abusing them. I'm just not sure that's possible. I'm not sure if it's even okay for me to ask someone to do that, and maybe imply that if they don't forgive the person, that it's going to be stopping them fulfilling their life, living their life to their potential. And so now they're caught again. And so somehow, can we soften that a little bit? And somehow that they can get to a place where, yes, what happened to me was really shitty. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. I accept that it happened, and I accept it wasn't my fault. And I can let myself off the hook about that. I still have to deal with the trauma of it and the intrusion of it and all of that. But I'm not going to add to it by saying I have to forgive this person as well. And so maybe the person can maybe breathe a little easier and say, phew, well, I can just accept that it happened so. And some nice things have happened too, but that shitty bit has happened, and so I accept that it has happened, and that's part of who I am. And so if that's of use to somebody, to let go of having to forgive, I think that's important. And maybe focus on understanding and accepting of yourself and then of society in general. So in relation to the peace process, I suppose at its rawest state, it was bringing the paramilitaries from both sides together for weekend workshops, getting people from really opposing sides who would have been shooting at each other, getting them to sit in the same room for starters. In one instance, a guy wouldn't acknowledge another person in the room, who was from the INLA, the Irish Nationalist Liberation Army, and he was from the other side. And it turned out that the INLA guy was a yoga teacher, and the other guy had a bad back. And during a yoga session, the guy says, "Is it okay if I touch your back? Because I think I can fix what's wrong with your back." And so even though he wouldn't speak with him, he allowed him to manipulate his back and to massage his back, and just in the physical contact first, that allowed them to pass the sugar and sit at the same table later on for breakfast. They weren't going to ever be the best of buddies, but somebody was able to say, "Look, it's Joe, will you pass us up the sugar?" And yes, you can. Here you are. Thank you very much. And so from there, just in really simple ways, they were able to communicate. But it started with a physical healing of one guy's back. And it became a little odd at one point when the guy says, "Where did you learn all this yoga stuff?" And he says, "Oh, I learned it in the H blocks, which was in prison," which kind of made another awkward moment. But we had to get through those kind of awkward, funny moments, and I think what maybe I learned a lot from those situations was that before we can accept another person, that we have to understand them. And we can't get to understanding the Catholics or the Protestants or the Israelis or the Palestinians or whoever unless we accept the other side or begin to understand them first. And what happened was when we looked at the understanding, we had to go back another layer, because the point was we didn't want to understand. And so what prevents us from understanding? And that was really the starting point for a lot of the workshops, was what is in the way of us not understanding but wanting to understand, and the fears that would come up in that. So again, looking at fears, if I allow myself to understand this person, does that mean it could happen again? Does that mean it's okay? Does that mean that my father, who's dead in the grave now, that I'm saying that I understand the person that killed him? That means that it was okay to kill my father? And can I move past that? That maybe it's not saying that was okay, but maybe I can just begin to understand. But that's really a difficult move for people, and some people will never make that move, and I have to understand that they won't. But that really was the work. And once there was a willingness to be open to understanding, the actual understanding wasn't that difficult really. But the difficulty was really looking at the fears that prevents us from wanting to understand. So it seems like going back a very far back into the process, but that's where the healing lay. And once we ever broke that between two people, and we did, where people sat down with people that killed their fathers and were able to go hill walking together eventually, able to hold hands, without feeling that they have sullied the memory of their father, or without feeling the other person, without really feeling that he has said what he has done, that he wants to change it or something either, that both people could get respected in that. And the struggle, and the ongoing struggle for those people that they might find that they could talk together this evening, but by the morning, not sure if I really want to sit at his table today, and so just being able to have some flexibility around that, and to allow ourselves, maybe I can kind of accept this person today, but maybe tomorrow I might struggle a little bit with that, and for that to be okay, that it's a process, it's not an end place that we get to.